Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. We are, as Bonnie said, very excited to be chatting to you today a little bit about MSP maturity, as well as some new and some very soon coming Resolve features that will help you get there. So my name, as mentioned, is Jen. I work on the product marketing team here. I focus on LogMeIn Resolve, and I am especially focused on managed service providers. I've worked in the space for nearly 15 years now, so I am always jazzed to be able to talk about new and exciting things that will help MSPs move forward. And it is always an absolute pleasure to talk about LogMeIn Resolve in that space because we are moving fast and we are doing some really cool things. So before we fully jump into the content, just want to gauge the audience a little bit here and understand if you're currently using Resolve or if it's something you're evaluating or where you stand with your Resolve journey. So I'll give you just a couple moments here to answer that poll if you currently are using Resolve. I see some answers coming through. Looks like we've got some active Resolve users in the house. Awesome. I'll leave it up for just another moment here. Okay, cool. Thank you, everyone. So for those using Resolve, I am especially excited to show you what we have coming soon and what you already have available. And for those evaluating, just as excited. So today's topics, I do want to kick us off with just a quick review of MSP maturity. We have a brand new asset on our website, our MSP Maturity Hub, that has a lot of these details in it. So this is just going to be a quick reminder of certain things that you should be leveraging to increase your maturity level and find more scalability and automation in your business. And then we'll talk about our new features. So those that we have coming soon before the end of the year, we have end user access and brandable remote sessions. And then what we have available to you already today in your Resolve system, dynamic device groups and customizable AI reporting. You may see that referenced as dynamic insights. So I'll highlight those, how they work, what you can expect, and then we'll open it up for questions at the end. But we'll kick it off, like I said, with a review of MSP maturity. And this is a screenshot taken directly from our MSP Maturity Hub, which I have a QR code here for you to scan if you want to check that out on the next slide. But it really is a blueprint that lays out really what operational maturity is and what you should be looking at as far as metrics, automation, integration to ensure that you're able to find that stable OML or operational maturity level. We then have two further pillars that really dive into how recurring revenue sets you up for success and how you can protect that recurring revenue with your customers. And in the same token, how you can build those really strong, really profitable customer relationships that don't only drive your growth, but drive your customers' growth as well. So tips on how you can position yourself as that trusted advisor. And just to give you a little bit of a high level view, the operational maturity is really going to focus on how you can leverage automation to eliminate tedious time consuming tasks. And of course, that sounds like a no brainer. Everybody wants to do that, but it is sometimes really, really hard when you're running a business, solving technical issues to find the time and figure out what solutions can do what and how can I get the most out of them. And I totally understand that pain. It's really easy for me to sit here and say, well, just find the time. But that is essentially what the takeaway there is there has to be a little bit of a balance with finding the time to work on your business as opposed to always working in your business. Because when you really lay it out, there's, and I've said it before, and I know I'll say it again, there's the pain of the same and there's the pain of change. And we have to balance and figure out which pain is worse for the business. And ultimately, keeping up with the same pains day in and day out is going to cost your business a lot more than the pain of figuring out where you can find efficiencies and looking and understanding the solutions you have in your technology stack that can help you with automation. Another level of that is really focusing in on the key KPIs that are critical to your business's success. And this is something we have laid out in that maturity hub. Here's that QR code. We have blogs about the top 10 KPIs you should be tracking around service, business, finance, sales, all the things that you need to keep your eye on. And those metrics help you understand, where can I maybe do some automation? What's taking me a little too long, maybe in terms of resolving tickets that my customers are putting in. Another layer of that is developing repeatable, standardized processes. What's nice about automation is it can do some of the heavy lifting on those, but for things like onboarding new customers, offboarding customers that are leaving, anything that should be consistent should be documented, and it should be available to those on your team because it helps level them up. It helps make sure that experience is consistent, not only for your end users, but for those internally as well. And then last but not least, I just have to say, take advantage of the integrations that are available between your solutions. So many times, having worked in the software space, I've seen solutions that have integrations in MSP businesses that are not integrated. And again, it's because who has the time? But those kinds of integrations will save you so much time down the road when you are continuing to grow your business. That second lever, second pillar in our MSP Maturity Hub is around recurring revenue. A lot of times it can be really difficult when you're growing your business to make that full transition from a break fix model into true managed services with fully predictable recurring revenue. But that is what makes your cash flow consistent. It's what makes you able to plan better and know what you'll be able to do in the coming months, especially if you're doing any kind of big projects or bringing customers on. Another key element there is try to standardize your contracts. There's a couple of reasons that that's so important. One being it makes selling easier. The conversations your sales reps have to have become much more consistent around your offerings. It makes the sales handoff process easier because now if you know what you sell, it's easier to turn it over to the next team, to your service delivery team, to be able to fulfill that sale. But it also makes it a lot easier for you, and this may come as you're leveling up in that maturity, is identifying the right customers for your business. Because if you can include those minimum requirements around things like cybersecurity or backups and business continuity and disaster recovery, you have customers that take this seriously, and you can start to branch out into those services. So this gives you another lever to pull with your customers as far as keeping them safe, keeping them more efficient, but also adding to your bottom line. So if you're not doing things like BCDR or even like MDM, mobile device management, these are awesome opportunities for you to continue to level up your services, keep your customers more secure and productive, and again, grow your profitability. And a key element to that is leveraging QBRs. If you're not having strategic business reviews, they don't have to be on a quarterly basis. They should be on whatever basis makes sense for you and your customer. But having those business reviews helps you solidify yourself as that trusted advisor. You can show your value and you can bring in opportunities for upsell. And that goes right into the third pillar. So this is where our features today really are going to help you level up, is establishing those long-term customer relationships. Because surveys have shown and studies have shown in the MSP space, as technology becomes, for lack of a better word, commoditized, we're all kind of selling the same things. It's really that experience that sets you apart. It has been shown to be the number one differentiator in the managed service provider industry. So having tools that support you when you're servicing your customers is critical. So make sure they're having experiences that solidify your brand. Make it really clear who you are. You want them to know that you are the awesome superheroes behind their productivity and the seamlessness in their technology. When you are having those interactions, make sure that you are showing value, promoting your brand, but also proving that value, because so many times MSPs are doing so much great work behind the scenes, the customers don't necessarily see it. I said this in a previous webinar that I did, so apologies if you were there and have heard this, but I saw something on LinkedIn. I thought it was funny that when everything's going right, customers can be like, what are we paying you for? And when something goes wrong, they say, what are we paying you for? So it's really important that you're consistently showing them, hey, these are all the things we proactively resolved. Here's all the patches we installed for you to keep your system safe and up to date. Here's all of the backup data we have, all the things that you're doing. Make sure that they know. And then, of course, with your customers growing, it means you grow. As they add more employees, more devices, that's more billings for you. You can continue to do more in your business. So with that, check out that MSP Maturity Hub. Our teams are really excited to have that out on our website. It is just on the logmein.com website. You don't have to download or fill anything out to get to it. So would love for you to check that out. But let's talk about our new features and how they can help you strengthen your customer relationships so that you can really establish long-term profitable relationships. So these are the features we're going to talk about. Like I said, end user access and brandable remote sessions are coming soon. We have that in the queue for before end of year, and I do have a QR code that I'll show you here later on to register for our monthly webinar series where we go through all the new features that Resolve released in the previous month. So when it's go time for these, I want to make sure you have the access to see that webinar, see the demos, and get everything you can out of that. And then we'll talk about customizable reporting and our dynamic device groups. So end user access is really going to be that functionality that allows you to extend that remote access to your end user so they can get to their managed devices from anywhere. And that is such a critical, important offering for an MSP because one, it establishes you again as that provider that really cares about their business, can give them secure and easy ways to get to what they need, but it also keeps them more productive. So they're not missing out on getting work done just because they happen to be away from their device. They would be able, with this functionality, to go in and get into those devices really easily. It is something that you may want to add into your contracts as a billable service. I always like to say it's nice to just factor that cost in on your side. Maybe don't put a price on it on the line item, just have it as something included in your contract. That way they can't really get into price comparisons, but it could be a level of value and influence what you are charging per month. And ultimately, it is embedding your services deeper into what they're doing on their daily operation. So because this isn't available at this exact moment, I don't have a demo to show you, but just at a high level, it works hopefully how you're imagining. You would be creating your users or managing them from within Resolve. You'll be able within Resolve to go in and select the devices that any particular user should have access to. And then they'll log into your portal, the helpdesk.me portal. There will be a brand new devices menu over on the left-hand side where they already have tickets. And that's where they can go in and start to manage their devices. And we take security very, very seriously here at LogMeIn. And with Resolve, the current users, we are built on a zero trust architecture. So one of the things that we are doing is implementing zero trust keys for your end users. So they would be able to create that that zero trust key. It will not be stored anywhere. It will be something only they know, and they will be required to put that in. The flow is easier and simplified compared to what you have to do as a Resolve technician. But something that we will make available that you see on the right hand of the screen is an asset for you to share with your customers to explain zero trust keys, explain how to get to those devices within the helpdesk.me portal. So hopefully that lifts a little bit of the burden off of you when it comes to communicating this new service and how to use it. So we will make that available when this rolls out. But yeah, we're very excited to still be implementing the zero trust key for your end users, keeping everything secure. So stay on the lookout for that. We will make sure that you have that available. Another bit that is coming soon that will help you increase your brand awareness with your customers and solidify your name is we are making it possible to brand your remote sessions. So every customer connection on those remote sessions, we want your logo out there. We want them to feel secure. And you can speak to this as well, that, hey, if you're joining a remote session, be on the lookout for our logo, our brand colors, however you want to communicate that, but provide that peace of mind that they are connecting into a secure session. And we really just want to make sure that that brand is always visible and make sure that your customers know that that's you resolving their issues. So this, when this comes out, you will be able, right in your go-to admin account settings, be able to go in and update all of the available options for the remote sessions. So I do have a screenshot of what this will look like. Again, this is taken from a existing setup. So as we roll it out, things may change slightly, but it will generally be this. So you'll be able to update your welcome message, your logo, your background color, the applet icon, so that it really gives it your feel, and your customers can see that when they're connecting to you. Now, things that are available to you right now, dynamic device group support. This is one that is really exciting when it comes to how you're scaling the way your devices are getting linked to recurring remote execution jobs, your endpoint protection policies, and your Windows patching policies. Before, it had to be by individual device. Now you can actually associate your device groups. And I think the UI has actually changed a little bit since I took this screenshot, but it will be the same thing when you're setting those jobs or policies up. When it comes time to associate the right devices, you'll have the opportunity to do individual devices. Now you'll have the opportunity to do by device groups. So, excuse me, with this, it makes sure that as devices are added to or removed from groups, that device dynamically inherits or loses the settings for that group. So we want to reduce manual work, we want to reduce errors with that, and we want to make it easier to onboard new devices onto the right thing. So instead of having to remember to individually add those devices, now you can just make sure that they're in the right groups, and as long as those groups are linked to the right things, you're good to go. So again, that's available for recurring remote execution jobs, endpoint protection policies, and your Windows patching policies. So it works. I think I just described this, so this slide may be a little bit redundant, but again, it just makes sure that if you have device groups linked to the policy or the job, that as devices are added or removed, they inherit or do not have those settings anymore when removed. This, I think, having worked with so many MSPs over the years, is really I'm most excited to talk about this. Not to say any of the others are not exciting, but customizable reporting or dynamic insights is available right now in general release in LogMeIn Resolve. And what is it? It is AI-driven natural language query custom reporting. So instead of having to dig through SQL or dig through different databases and join your views, now you can just chat with AI and ask it in plain language for what you want. It will spit that back out, and then you can refine it in the same manner just by chatting and telling it what you want it to do. We know data is really so critical for how you make decisions internally. And sometimes those decisions can be hard to make because the data is hard to uncover. So making it easier in Resolve to do that will help you make better business decisions. Whether it's around how you're delivering services, maybe the SLA performance isn't where you want it to be. Maybe you're seeing a lot of tickets or issues come in from your customers that now you can quickly identify those trends, find areas for automation, or maybe opportunities to train your team more on that particular type of ticket. But what's really critical, especially in the theme of strengthening your customer relationships, is the ability to use these reports in meetings like QBRs to highlight value, to show what you've done, and even identify, again, opportunities for upsells or maybe even hardware refreshes. So how does this work? In Resolve, if you go into the reporting screen, there's a create new report. It really just goes pretty simply from there. Once you're creating the report, you name it, you start typing, telling it what you want, refine, and then you can add that widget to a report. And something that we have recently released, this has been in open beta for a while, but now it is fully in general release. And during that open beta, enhancements came, and one is that you can actually duplicate reports now. So if there's a standard report that you've seen in Resolve that you like, but you wish maybe you could tweak it just a little bit to include a little more insights into a particular area, you can duplicate those reports now and use this to refine them. So that's pretty exciting. And I do have a quick GIF here. I had asked it, hey, show me all the devices that right now have available software updates. And it spit this back out, and I was like, maybe that's not as helpful as I'd like. Can you add in the actual software that needs updating and include the tenant name and the device group name? And it's very polite. It tells me to sit tight. One moment, I will go ahead and do that, and voila, then it pulls back all the device names, all the software names that need to be updated, and then for further insight, I can see the tenant and the device group that that particular device is in. Now, this is just a really quick showing of, hey, I can go in, I can do this. If you're looking for a better visualization of what this can do, I strongly encourage you to get a quick scan of this QR code. It's about a 5-minute video. I'm interviewing or introducing our product manager, Vivka, who worked on this, and she does a great demo showing pie charts and asking it to refine exactly how the data looks. And you can see all of that in real time. So we're super excited about this. I think, like I said, I've worked in the space for a while, and reporting is always a pretty big pain point, especially when it comes to uncovering that data and joining it. So just let AI do it with our dynamic insights and customizable reporting. So that wraps up the real meat of the webinar. I do want to, again, encourage you to check out our Maturity Hub, figure out how you can leverage automation and different insights from your KPIs to drive better decisions. Take a look at how you're currently structured in your recurring revenue model. Are you offering standardized contracts? Is there an opportunity to standardize them, maybe further to make sales handoff, ensuring minimum requirements a little bit easier across your customer base? And then how can you really start to leverage tools to build those long-term profitable customer relationships? Take a look at the customizable reporting today inside of LogMeIn Resolve. Start building those reports, play around with it. Let us know what you think. And then we want you to keep up to speed with the Resolve features that we are putting out. Our team moves fast, so that is why we have a recurring retrospective feature webinar every single month. If you scan that QR code, you can register for the entire series in one fell swoop. That way you get them typically the second Tuesday of every month. Sometimes we have to shift it, like next week it's a holiday in the States, so it will be on Wednesday, but usually second Tuesday every month at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. I also hope to see you if you are in the California in the Irvine, California area next week, we will be at the Channel Pro Defend event, talking all things Resolve. So if you'll be there, give me a shout. Would love to meet up with you. If you are in that area and you are considering going, leave us a note in the Q&A. We can help you get tickets if you'd like to attend. And then one other thing that is kind of unrelated to the topic at hand, but very related to being an MSP and struggling to find time to do all the things you have to do. We do have a brand new marketing bot on our website. It is AI powered. All you need is an open AI account. You don't have to fill out any forms to use it, but it is trained with MSP knowledge. It knows typical pain points of your customers, and it is specifically designed to help you with MSP marketing content. So if you ask it to write you a blog, it can write you that blog. It can then turn it into social media posts to help you promote that blog. It can help you write email copy for drip campaigns. So there's a lot of value there. We would love for you to check that out with your MSP. So I do see some questions having come through. Will the customized reports do monthly sessions for the entire customer base? You will be able to ask it based on tenant, how many sessions you've run, things of that nature. So it can pull that back to help you with your billing process. I haven't run it for that specific purpose, so I'd be happy, Nathan, to do that and follow up with you to show you kind of the capabilities and really what that would look like. So I will absolutely follow up with you with that. I love this question about helping influence the roadmap too, Nathan. We actually do have a customer advisory board specifically for MSPs coming up. In my follow-up, I will make sure to get you some details about that. If you would like to be a part of that, it sounds like you would. We would love to have you there. And then I see some other questions around just keeping up with the features coming out and knowing what's coming. That webinar is going to be a wonderful resource for you to see everything that was released in the, that's perfect, Nathan. I will definitely follow up. The webinar is a great place to see all that. If you're not familiar, we do have a support site as well. So if you even if you just Google LogMeIn Resolve Support, on that page, we do have a what's new page. So that gets updated as new features are released. And we also have a what's coming page. So want to make sure that you are up to snuff there. And then to round it out, just another quick poll. If you are interested, if you're not already using Resolve and you'd like to learn more about Resolve, we would love to make sure that you can do that. So we'll give you just a moment here, and that kind of wraps up our session today. So thank you all so very much for joining us. Hope you're excited about these features like we are, and we can't wait to see you on our next webinar. So thank you again, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.